Across mining, construction, and logistics, one problem keeps surfacing: reliable connectivity in the most remote places. In fact, only a fraction of mining sites report always having reliable communications, and that gap undermines everything from safety to efficiency. Well, MTN Sat has been in satellite communications for more than 4 decades, and today it's offering converged solutions that blend satellite and terrestrial networks to keep operations online everywhere, all the time. Well, it's a pleasure to have with me Kelly Dennehy, Vice President, Enterprise and Americas at MTN Sat. Kelly, thanks very much indeed for your time.
Absolute pleasure to be here, Devin.
Well, look, we're going to get into how MTN Sat fits in a moment, right? But as a curtain raiser, what are the connectivity challenges or constraints that mining companies face in their operations?
Well, it's a fantastic question, Devin, and I would say that they're relatively vast. You are dealing with rough and tumble areas, super remote, lack of infrastructure, and the cost to bring that high-speed infrastructure to the mining site is simply insurmountable. So you're dealing with high data usage software, high data usage machinery in an increasingly connected environment, and you do not have that pipeline able to get out to your remote sites. And so it's a very interesting space right now where the need for data is constantly rising, and the means of getting that data to the remote site is becoming more and more difficult.
And I see it quite often with the companies or mining companies I speak to, right? I mean, their operations are in deserts, mountains, remote wilderness. Terrestrial networks, as you allude to, simply just don't reach them. How is MTN Sat closing that gap and ensuring reliability where others simply can't give it?
Absolutely. And the simple answer is the LEOSat network. So low Earth orbit satellite, better known colloquially as Starlink these days, is simply the best ticket in town. With thousands of satellites in the constellation now, you can receive almost fiber levels of broadband internet in the most remote reaches of the world. And so by us utilizing that LEOSat constellation, piggybacking off of Starlink's signal, enhancing it with MTN's own offerings and suites of products, we have a pretty compelling product for those in the remote usage industries.
Mm-hmm. You alluded to it in your first answer. I mean, we often hear that downtime in remote operations can cost millions in lost production and even put worker safety at risk. And I think that's an important one. So what difference does always-on satellite connectivity make to preventing those losses?
Yeah. When I'm speaking to my clients in the industry, I'm shocked at how standard and expected long-term outages are. They're simply planning business around the given fact that out of a work week, you might have a 20% downtime. It's not safe. The waste is immense. And when you flip to a network that has a guaranteed uptime of 99.7%, that safety factor increases exponentially, and you're able to simply do more efficient work, which means better bottom line.
I've been quite intrigued at your Star Edge platform, and that looks interesting to me. I think you combine, if I understand that correctly, these low Earth orbit satellites with traditional networks into what seemingly is a single private system. So my question is, what advantages does that blended approach give a mining and construction company compared to using one network on its own?
Absolutely. Redundancy. Redundancy is key. So for that 99.7%, we need to cover that other percentile. And so by having built-in failover systems over to cellular, over to traditional geosat, these are all things we offer, we are just shoring up that gap of connectivity, just that extra inch, to ensure that we have the minimum downtime humanly possible for your sites.
Now, you're a company, you've got your workers out you've got your vehicles that need tracking. They're all over the place. And you can only do that with reliable communications, right? Can you give us an example, a practical one, of how a robust networks improves efficiency and control in the field? Because that's often a very big challenge, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a massive issue. So let's take an example from, say, a neighboring industry. Let's talk about the heavy industries, of particular, say, barge and heavy work ships. So we have a fantastic client based out of the eastern seaboard of the United States, and they're managing upwards of 150 barges, heavy tugboats, guide ships, etc., that are working 24/7. If they could have one day of downtime a year, I'm sure that they would take that as, as an optimum means of business. But the logistics of managing a fleet that size, making sure that you are fully aware of where they're going, what their current objective is, understanding, hey, the engines are having, issues on this particular vessel, or hey, the client is not ready for us to pick up here. If you do not have the best connectivity humanly possible, you can be waiting days to get that information back and deploy them on a new task. If you have guaranteed high-speed connectivity, the means of communicating, the means of tracking these vessels, it means you can redeploy them as you see fit. It means that you can be in better contact with the crews, with the operators, and it's a quality of life improvement for those crews and operators too. If they're in the middle of a strait in a very remote pocket of the world, with no human civilization anywhere, and they still have the ability to communicate with friends, family, coworkers, etc., it's a better quality of life and a better quality of work.
Listen, I see you've been expanding, and I see the guys across the Atlantic in Europe also pairing up with you. I mean, from Starlink to OneWeb. What is that positioning doing for the company?
Yeah, we simply want to corner the market in industrial connectivity. The more options we have for our clients, the more synergy we can find between different products, the more our customers win. It is absolutely key for us that we offer something that nobody else does. And MTN's unique blend of support, of on-field staff, and product suite really does place us ahead in the market.
And then just finally, I mean, this is such an evolving issue. You're busy with your advances on your side. And as you're doing that, AI is not waiting for anyone, right? You've got automation continuing, new innovations coming up. What are some of the developments you're watching most closely? And more importantly, how is MTN SAT preparing to meet those future demands?
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned AI.
Yeah.
AI is certainly a part of our future business map. However, we are very adamant about a human-first approach. When people say, hey, what sets MTN apart from, say, just going direct with Starlink? One of the first things I always say is we operate several 24/7 network operation centers where our clients can call and speak to a human in the operating room 24 hours a day. And that means you're not having to wait through ticket systems. You're not having to wait for a call back. If it is Christmas Eve and you are in the middle of a sticky situation, you can call us. And that human first approach is so key to what we do here. Now, AI is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. And so utilizing AI tools to improve the human element of our business, to improve guidance in the industry and with the products that we're offering, to increase efficiency, to increase the logistics of deploying large amounts of these satellite assets. These are all things that are on the roadmap. And that really is kind of the angle that we're heading towards at this point in time.
Well, listen, it sounds compelling, and we certainly will watch that space. Kelly Dennehy from MTN SAT, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.